All right, all right. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another stream today. At least I think everybody. I don't think anyone's here. This is a... this hasn't happened in a little while. Well, for anybody who's watching... Oh, there's Scape. Hey, and Fun Family Gaming. Okay, there's some people here. How's it going, folks? How you doing? I'm not used to jumping in when there's nothing on chat, so I was like, okay. I've done this before. I remember this back when I learned how to stream to myself, my phone, and my mom. But no, I see it. Folks filing in. I understand. You know how it is. Fashionably late. I get it. No, I'm kidding. Giving y'all a hard time. How's it going? 07s, everybody. Welcome. Today is an interesting one because it's a Friday stream, but we're going over a monthly report. And honestly, that could explain, like if people aren't here. This isn't the normal time for us to do like a talking stream. Usually this is pretty kickback gameplay stuff going on Fridays. But since we're doing the community opinions show on Monday, by the way, if you want to be involved in that, jump in on the Discord, get a little bit active, type a couple things, get a little angry at somebody, but keep it civil. And on Monday, we'll be having a show on the stream here live where anybody from the community on Discord, like I said, can come in, share their thoughts on the topic of the day, get a little soapbox, talk about your woes, your struggles, your happiness, your excitements about Star Citizen. It's a time to get more of like the community's voice than my own. So we're doing that on Monday, which means today we're doing the monthly report, which came out earlier this week. This is all the work that was done in January across the company and, for Star Citizen. And honestly, it's probably not all the work, but it's a good amount of the work. As you can see, there's a lot of words here. So like every month, we're going to go through it in painstaking detail. I'm going to get wildly off track, and we're going to get a little excited about some of the upcoming stuff. I actually haven't read this one yet, so this should be exciting. Little kind of first timer for me and maybe some of you. And I'm looking forward to it. We all started there. We did family gaming. Are you streaming up in here? You stream on Twitch, buddy? Ease of the content, have too much fun to watch. That's what I love about YouTube, by the way, is that it just keeps it up there. So even if you're not here for the stream. Punji! I'm glad I could depend on the toes to be here. Always the toes. Happy to have you here, Punj. Think there's another chance of getting the Crusader A1 series of ships? I think there's a chance of getting it this year. Maybe not in 318, though. Nox, how you doing? You've been following up with SC. Well, shoot, let me give you a shout out. Because why not? Anybody else? Any other streamers in the chat? Thank you for coming. Karen 07s. Loken turned you on to the channel, so I drop in when I can. Nice. Yeah, me and Loken had a good talk on the podcast. We've had a couple talks. Info runners on the podcast. I want to get him onto a launch. Actually, no, we had a launch sequence episode. He was also on Citizen Central and Info Runners. Yeah. So we've gone back and forth. Like the guy. He's got a lot of good things to say. Give him a thanks for me. You also stream on and off. Cool. Kazar, you stream? You telling me you didn't get trapped in the new PTU patch? I haven't even... Was there a new patch today? I haven't been playing all day. I was working on the exclusive, which, by the way, folks, if you are a supporter of any kind, Twitch subscriber, YouTube member, whatever you may be, I just dropped the newest exclusive video. It's a 19-minute look at how Star Citizen is changing. It's kind of an attempt at a video to be like, hey, I hear you. Star Citizen right now doesn't make much sense with some of the features and the way things work. Piracy kind of sucks. It's hard not to get people in trouble for killing you, but things are going to change, and here's how. So it's just a long-winded version of that, but I thought it would be a decent video to put out. What's your brother got to do to get PTU access? You want the easy way or the hard way? Greetings, ethnification. 07's Cotton. All right, folks. How about we get into this monthly report, huh? I really should start timestamping this. Maybe that's something we can have a mod do. timestamp, just write in the time and then I'll put it in the description. That would make things a lot easier for people watching this afterward. I'm going to start looking into that, folks. All right. Now let's do this. Starting out with AI. We always start with AI. Nothing too crazy about that, but it's really fun to hear about because AI is probably one of the furthest places that Star Citizen could progress. Let me get a little water. All right. The AI features team started the year enabling AI characters to throw grenades. Nice. I've tried that before. Doesn't work. This involved work in multiple areas, including new logic for when to throw grenades to ensure a challenge without overwhelming the player. Parabola collision checking to ensure the grenade lands correctly. An animation so that the AI looks correct when throwing. So it's not like a little T-Rex throw, I guess. January also saw the implementation of attack and defend areas, which can be assigned to AI characters to direct and control fighting in specific ways. On the most basic level, the defend area limits where NPCs are positioned when fighting, whereas the attack area limits where they target. When assigned either area, NPCs will prepare to fight by equipping their weapons and taking ready stances before moving to the area on high alert. I gotta read that again. Like I said, this is my first time, so I'm gonna have to soak these things in. On the most basic level, the defend area limits where NPCs are positioned when fighting, whereas the attack area limits where they target. Okay, I get it then. When assigned either area, NPCs will prepare to fight by equipping their weapons and taking ready stances before moving to the area on high alert. When defending, AI will move to a cover point inside the area and defensively peek out. When attacking, they will use the existing investigate behavior to search for hostile forces. I'm going to pull up that same footage that I'm always pulling up for this. But like you can tell that they had this sort of previs example of what they wanted way back in the day. And they're only just now getting it to work, which is the case for a lot of their stuff. Oh boy. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to find the video I'm talking about though. It's an old one. Some of you probably recognize it. It's just showing off their different levels of AI combat fitness. I'm not seeing it on here though. Yeah, I don't know if I have this. There it is. Here it is. So you can see here that it's kind of the same idea. Like they get a defensive area on these boxes, and so they'll switch out the different AI to move into this defensive area, peek out of cover. Yeah, you know, it's like a pretty basic thing in games, I think, where they shoot you. What's up, Dirk Heiser? And you can see here that like they've got kind of normal AI who sort of knows what they're doing, the super terrified AI who really can't do anything, and then in a second these guys will run away and proper combat AI will fill in their spot. You can see here. So this video was meant to just show the different levels of AI that you could encounter in a combat scenario and how they react to you. But it sounds very similar to what they're talking about here. The attack area, this AI team is saying, is great for building pressure on the player, whereas the defend area can provide the player with a tough challenge as AI are hunkered down and ready to fight. The implementation of this feature involves reusing existing systems in new ways, changing the tactical queries to take into consideration the attack or defend area that the AI may have. 3.20 in PTU in 6 months. A bold claim. We'll find out next week. Hopefully all the AI work can be translated to work with future creature AI. I'm okay with creature AI not shooting me. Thanks, if I can make that choice. Late last year, AI tech completed the first iteration of NPCs driving ground vehicles. We did read about that. Last month, they fixed several related bugs as more designers began using the feature. It's always nice to hear that designers are already using that feature. They also progressed with the feature that enables NPCs to use transit systems like elevators and move between platforms. This time, they focused on NPCs using trains to move between locations. This required exposing new functionality on the transit manager and more complex behaviors before and during transit. New functionality includes providing more information about the gateways at specific destinations and information about carriages, such as time spent at a destination and time until arrival. The crab has gun! Hey, the only good bug. is a dead bug. What's up, David? How you doing? And good morning, Polite Gaming. How's it going, man? Let's see. Where were we? On the locomotion side, the team added further support for soft stops and separated them from harsh stops. Why did they just call them hard stops? A soft stop means that NPCs will choose the best animation for stopping, even if it will overshoot its destination. While a harsh stop, I'm going to call it a hard stop, will attempt to stop immediately. Locomotion support was also given for bug fixing and alien creature movement. There you go. Alien creature movement. I really hope that they can work in some kind of animation for the hard stops where, like, if they are moving too fast, they kind of trip. I would love to see NPCs trip. Do you guys remember, thanks to the posture check, do you guys remember, gosh, this must have been probably this is like a lot of 2020 and 2021, I want to say, when you would just trip. You'd be running throughout a space station or a city or something. You just trip over, face plant into the ground, kind of lay there for a couple seconds and get back up. I'd love to see NPCs do that, just because I want to laugh at them, you know? Another Friday at work, can't complain. Excited to hear your perspective on the monthly report. I hear it's a good one, but I am completely unspoiled, so I'm excited to keep going. For the Subsumption Apollo tool, the team progressed with implementing feedback and bug fixing. They also added new functionality to the Subsumption Master Graph, making it possible to have functions on top of transitions to determine whether a state transition can be done. Most of you have been here in the past, right? We've been here for other ones. I've shown you the Subsumption tool a lot. I'm sure you're tired of seeing it. Is this anybody's first monthly report? Because if it is, I will gladly go out above and beyond. I'll pull it up. I'll whip up that footage. The usable coordinator was also completed, which allows the designers to specify a selection of usables for NPCs in specific areas and prioritize the order of selection. First stream you've made it to with your new job. All right, Cotton. What's the new job, if you don't mind me asking? Blue Wolf, this is your first time. All right, then. So be it. I'm going to pull up Subsumption for you. I'm going to show you what that is. Maybe you already know. Honestly, shame on me for assuming, but I'm going to do it anyways. This is what they mean when they talk about subsumption. And it's basically a massive if-then graph. You can kind of see it's like next to move. If I just pause it here, you can see this is engage, this is weapons, this is termination. So like, this is just the flow of logic for an NPC. And they have these different modules, and they can plug in different values for how things will go. And like, this is from years and years ago. So it's expanded greatly since then, but it's the same idea of how it works. Anyways, the feature that allows NPCs to perceive threats through audio and visual stimuli and react to hostile vehicles was completed. In a related area, oh gosh, I know it's wishful thinking, but I really wish that would come in 3.18. In a related area, further updates were made to the behavior that enables NPCs reacting to stimuli to enter combat. AI Tech started work on 2 new features. One allows overrides for navigation mesh generation so that the team can create navigation meshes for specific agents in narrow areas. For example, this will enable NPCs to traverse areas where only a crouched state is possible, such as vents and underfloor areas. The second feature enables the team to mark areas with increased navigation cost, which will influence the path chosen by NPCs. This will be used to create areas that NPCs should avoid, like areas with fire, or to encourage them to travel on specific areas like a sidewalk. They talked about that last year. Interestingly, I think it was the AI Tech as well. This might be something that they shelved for a little while, because this says they started work on new features, but we definitely heard about this a little bit. Maybe it was a different team though. Customer service, working from home eventually, but for the first few weeks, it's just online courses. You still get to stay at home though, or you have to go in the office? All right, last AI section, vehicle features. The vehicle feature team focused on space combat AI improvements in January. Do they normally do this? Isn't it usually just features, tech, and content? And then vehicle features is usually up here as a, yeah, it's usually features vehicle up here. That's interesting. At least I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Radio silence in chat. Yeah, it's a Friday. What are you going to do? I do these on Mondays, and I'll probably need to stick to that more. Let's see. This involved breaking the AI into different well-defined trees. I'm thinking literal trees, which will help players to identify what kind of enemies they're up against. These improvements also allow easier integration of more maneuvers to further increase the skill level and interest of higher level ships. Similarly, AI vehicle features worked on a new behavior logic to deliver improved atmospheric flight combat. This is intended to work with the control surface feature being developed by the vehicle feature team and will lead to AI ships tailing and chasing players to get behind them, flying more like a plane when appropriate. That'll be fun. I think that's kind of like one of those things that everybody wants to do in the game, but I'm not sure how realistic it is. Have you guys ever chased a pilot, or have you ever had someone chasing you in this game? It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. So I do hope that we can get more kind of VFX and SFX to help us understand the context. Because there's not much they can do if they're not hitting you with their guns, right? Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like fun. I just don't know how well it's going to go. Friday because brain is fried. Yeah, I get it. I get that. My brain is also friado. I didn't have to do the podcast today, though. We're doing that on Sunday, so that saved me a little bit of head pain today. It's your first day of a 2-week vacation, so finally caught a stream. Usually working. Thanks for joining us, Chris. Any plans for the vacation? Bacon pudding. My favorite. How you doing? Happy Friday. Thanks for hopping in. Need to add rear view mirrors to all ships. That's going to be kind of tough for things like that. Freelancer, huh? You were chased by a Cuddy Blue and a C2 over Microtech once. It was an interesting experience. Did you fend them off? Oh, Doug is driving. I'm going to let you drive then. Don't worry about commenting. Thanks for being here. Friday is Space Potato. That's kind of where I'm getting. Finished the exclusive video. Got a couple things published. Working on the monthly report video. I am ready to pass out after this stream. It's tired. I'm tired. It's tired would be my brain. And you can tell by how I talk. All right. Art. Actually, animation. Alongside embedded work for the various feature teams, facial animations were developed for emotes and background characters such as the female vendor. Okay, now art. On the character side, in January, the team began production of the Frontier environmental wear costumes and polished the Frontier undersuit. Character concept progressed with concept exploration for the Rough and Ready gang, Fauna, and the Dusters faction. Honestly, I kind of need them to start giving us these, like, this is how this is introduced to us. I don't think we've ever been told the term Frontier environmental wear costume. It'd be nice to get like a little legend, you know, to tell us what that is. You guys think those are those other... Let's see if I can find the suits. Do you guys think that's this stuff? Are these environmental wear? Or are these undersuits? Are these clothes? What do you think? Does this look like environmental wear? It does look environmental. I'll give you that. It's got a mask. That has to do with the environment, right? Do you think this is the kind of stuff they're talking about here? Or is this undersuit clothing stuff? It's not an undersuit. Because undersuits have to be sealed, right? So this would have to be clothing. It's not armor. Is the PTU repaid yet? Repaid. Reopened? Repaired? Did they break the PTU? Cats! Yo! How's the mouse pad treating you? They're talking about the sealed environment suits. Okay, so like the big old ones that we got in Stanton, right? Let's see if I have any of them here. Like these? The ones that are specified for like harsher environments is what they're talking about? Because that makes sense. The clothing sets look well rendered. You wonder how they look in game. Hopefully good, because they look really nice. Almost there. Oh, not there yet. Okay, you got your stickers and they're great. Thank you. Good. I'm always happy to hear the quality is good. I hope they're in the best of spots. Right on the vegetable holder thing. They patched it last night and it broke the elevator and trams across all servers. Oof. That's a big one. Okay. Art on the ship side. Let's go. In the UK, the art team continued work on the small ship mentioned in last month's report, with certain elements reaching LOD0 complete, which is like highest level of detail. They also began exploring ideas for a variant. Wow. So this is not probably not something coming in 3.18, but I wonder if they're going to finish it and then keep hold of it until Invictus. That'd make it probably more combat focused. But I don't remember what they said about in the January monthly report. I'm guessing we'll hear about this one more time in February before they kind of put it on the low key. The Argo SRV progressed through final art. Final polish is currently underway on the exterior before the LOD and damage passes begin. The interior continued through final art and received a LOD pass. Good to hear the SRV is coming along. I'm sure we'll hear about tractor beams later on in the update, so we'll keep moving after that. Development of the Crusader Spirit continued, which passed its white box review, with the A1 variant moving into the gray box phase. Wonder why A1 is doing better. The ship team has to say the exterior is shaping up nicely with the key forms all established and all major elements like landing gear and VTOLs resolved. The interior is coming along and we're very pleased with the space so far, though there are a few visual changes we'd like to make to the doorways to emphasize Crusader's visual language. Hopefully that doesn't mean making the doors take 5 seconds to open. That scares me, you know? Ace! Dude, it brings literal warmth to my heart. Thank you so much for being so supportive of this stream, Ace. Comes in here, drops a tenner, helps us so much. People don't realize it's the $1 here, $1 there that adds up over the month and gives us the ability to pay rent. Thank you, Ace. You go a really big way in making that happen. We appreciate that. You like the Spirit, but it may be just a little too small for your taste. Yeah, we're gonna have to see. I think it could substitute for my MSR, but it might be too small. You're right. Interested in the passenger transport though. With the E1, yeah, that is cool. I wonder why the A1 is sticking out as the most advanced model of the three. Okay, a previously unannounced ground vehicle passed its gray box sanity review before the artwork progressed to LOD0. The exterior is almost finalized, only requiring additional detail while the interior is progressing well. Wonder what kind of ground vehicle this is. A rover or buggy, kind of like single seat, that's it? Or does it have an interior like the tank or the Atlas platform vehicles? Where are they going in ground vehicles? Question I got. You don't know if you want the E1 or the C1? I like the C1 more. I think the E1 will be cool, but like passenger transport hasn't been proven out yet, so I'm not as excited for it. I like a good general purpose ship like the C1. Let's see. The US team completed art white box for another in-production vehicle, which was then passed to the system's design team. Gray box began on another ship. Half the team focused on the main fuselage geometry, while the other prototyped a new way to enter and exit the ship. Finally, for ships, an all-new vehicle entered gray box, and a new set of alien paints was created for a future release. They're working on a lot of vehicles. They've got the small ship, sounds like it's a couple months out. Argo SRV, probably also a few months out. Crusader Spirit, I would assume that's October-ish, late summer, maybe CitizenCon time. A previously unannounced ground vehicle. White box on another vehicle. Gray box on another vehicle. And finally, one more all-new vehicle entering gray box. Now, out of those 7 that they've named, we know the SRV. We know the Spirit. So that's 2 vehicles that we know of. There is one previously unannounced. Only one previously unannounced, so one introduced this month. And it looks like finally for ships an all-new vehicle. I'm guessing that is a vehicle that's not unannounced, but we didn't know was being worked on before. So that... I wonder if that could be the X1. What do you think? If they call it an all-new vehicle, they didn't say it's unannounced. Could be the Lynx. Could be the Lynx. That could be the other. No, see, that's a previously unannounced vehicle. So that's neither the Lynx nor the X1. That last one could be the Lynx or the X1, though. The previously unannounced ground vehicle, no idea what that could be. That could be anything. And then this one up here is just a small ship. We don't know much about that. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on in ships and vehicles, at least on the art side. We'll have to see what's going on in features. Maybe they'll give us a couple more hints. UTV, we did hear about that kind of crafting maintenance sort of vehicle. Cool, though. Cool. Let's move on from ships, though. I'm sure there are some people who are watching this and they're like, hey, you know, ships are cool, great, but like we don't need to hear about more ships. We want to hear about features. I've heard there's good news for you in here. Let's keep going. In January, this is the best part of the update, the physics team schedule was dominated by Alpha 318 bug fixing and support. Aside from this, triangle vertex and normal transforms for physics triangle meshes were rewritten to use SSE AVX, which saves 30% of the cost. Furthermore, the physicalization method for ropes can now be chosen per rope entity. I only know what that last sentence means. So I can only comment on that last section, and that's cool. I like ropes. Ropes are fun. Oh, the MCV is the crafter, right? I don't know what the UTV is. Y'all talking leaks? I can't keep up with them. Those are CPU instruction sets. Okay. CPU, do this, do that. On the renderer, various optimizations were implemented into Gen 12. Among other things, this included performance improvements for transient lists, recording draw requests, a special submission for scene rendering with reduced thread synchronization, and a reduction of calls into the OS for general multi-thread purposes. Additionally, renderer initialization was refactored to prepare for Vulkan. Last month's Gen 12 support for particle refraction now also works as intended. This all to tell me that Gen 12 is coming along and there should be more later. That's what I get from it. On the core engine, further improvements were made to the remote shader compiler, which we talked about last month. Last month's work on adding support for huge pages was rolled out internally. Huge pages are now also used within the low-level memory allocator. They call it Gemalloc. Sorry. To further reduce the executable size of the Linux DGS, the gold linker is now utilized to fold identical functions and various compiler-generated data inside binaries. Just in case you were wondering. Page heap is now also supported for entities which use a special allocator to make debugging memory corruptions easier. Lastly, more work was done to support V2 of the PK4 files introduced at the end of last year in the internal development tool. I at least remember the pack files. But yeah. Whew. We need that UI and item world interaction update ASAP. Can't wait for the interaction update. We can fit so much exposition in these huge pages. Honestly, there are some sections of these pages that I just glass over completely. In the brain, in the eyes, all the places. I can't keep up with the engine section. Void Dude! Yo, 07's buddy. How you doing? How's it going? If anybody hasn't checked out Void Dude, go check him out on YouTube. Voidy Vids. Makes good stuff. Nice little comedy drop in Star Citizen and a recent guest on the Citizen Central podcast. Thanks for joining me, man. Okay. Features on the Arena Commander team, which we just heard about at Inside Star Citizen. I'll be dropping that reaction video after this. Throughout January, the team focused on polishing the new Arena Commander front end and racing tracks, including placing the new Horizon Speedway tracks above a new planet, Green 3 of the Ellis system. Can we take a second, please? Can we just take a second and look at the Ellis system, because it is the best star system in Star Citizen, and everybody should know about it. It's if you think Stanton is big, oh my gosh, let me show you something. Let's go. Give me the whole experience. Where's the music? Give me the music too. Come on. Come on. Light me up with that Pedro Camacho music. Where is it? I don't even hear it. What a there it is. Okay. All right. Ellis. For anybody who hasn't seen this app, this is the star map that was planned way back in the day with all the systems that in lore are known by humans. So this isn't every star system that exists. Clearly, you can see stars in the distance. This isn't every star system, even in the area. This is just the ones we know about. So aliens have other ones that they know about. And you can come on here and you can see all the things. You can toggle affiliations to see which systems belong to which races. You can toggle the crime, population, and economy toggles to see which systems are most interesting. This is the kind of stuff that we expect to see in the star map, right? In the future, you're trying to decide your home. You want to know these statistics, whether they're reported by data runners or you go there yourself to get them. Thing you can also do, though, is toggle jump routes, which could always change, but kind of give us an idea of where they want to be going with the systems as we expand out. So if you come to Stanton, right here, this is us. This is where we're starting. We don't know if they're going to keep all of the connections that are here on the star map permanently. They might add something else in another place. You never know. But you can see that it's got connections to Magnus, Pyro, and Terra. You can kind of see them down here at the bottom of the... There you go. So we know about Pyro, and you can see that Pyro connects to Nyx. Nyx connects to Odin. And that kind of draws a line of the first few systems because we know Odin is being worked on, Nyx is being worked on, Pyro is clearly being worked on. But there's also another pretty large system nearby if you just jump over to Magnus and then continue on to Ellis. Got a lot of connections there. Ellis is a huge system. Not the biggest by far, but it is my favorite, personally. I love Ellis. I love everything about it. It's very cool. From like the fact that it's got these crazy beautiful planets. This one's called Green. I can actually show you a picture of what this is supposed to look like so you get a better idea. Sorry, I'm gonna gush a little bit about Ellis, okay? Give me a second. This is what Green looks like. This place is supposed to be paradise. If you've ever done the racing in Arena Commander, that's on Ellis. That's why we're talking about it. But from like the beautiful planets to how many planets there are, it's like 12, I think, 13, all the way down to the fact that like there's a separate planet orbiting off axis outside of the Oort cloud. It's just a cool system. That's all to say that they just, updated a map for the racetrack. So, yeah. I just this is just a bit of a tangent. That's how we do. Wish they could just add that one straight into the game. Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be very cool. Could we get a link? I could get you a link to that. Bam, bam. Super simple. Drop it on Twitch and YouTube for you if you are interested in checking out that map. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of lore in there. Explore a little bit. Is that tomato system? I wish. Yeah, Tamza is the biggest system in lore. There are a lot of bigger systems than Ellis for sure. Okay, but let's continue anyways, because we're here for the monthly report, not Ellis. Some adjustments were also made to the racetracks themselves to suit the new Earth-like atmosphere. The team also experimented with new loadout selection previews on the front end alongside polishing its style and flow. Actually pretty cool, the racetracks in Arena Commander, since they take place in atmosphere, before you would fly like you were in a vacuum, because they just hadn't updated the atmospheric flight model, but now it takes into account the gravity and everything, so that obviously switches up how you have to go about the racetrack. Work continued on the classic race refactor, with the first version of the new race manager and checkpoint systems being tested and feedback addressed. Optimizations and additions such as splits, qualifying, and new analytic data were made alongside improvements to time accuracy. The refactors of both the rounds and spawning modules continued across Arena Commander and Star Marine. This refactor sees the code drastically improved and brought up to current standards while providing more modularity for new features. It also tackles some of the problem areas that prevented expansion of the old systems, such as separating unintended connections to PU characters, validating loadouts, and adding the ability to change the ship selection while in-game. That's really cool. What's up? Features on the characters and weapons side. Now, this is where we start to get into the interesting part of the monthly report. Last month, the features team continued to support the upcoming patch release with critical bug fixes, specifically issues related to the cargo system, tractor beam, and inventory. They fixed several client and server crashes too. They also worked on the player skills feature. This tracks certain player activities and actions with minimal hooks into the gameplay feature logic, and with an emphasis on performance. From the data and events gathered, players can improve certain aspects of their performance. For example, a player with higher level of fitness may have more stamina or consume stamina at a slower rate. I know this is a controversial one. I was wondering when they were going to bring this back up, because after CitizenCon, they went surprisingly quiet about what bombshell this was to drop coming into Star Citizen. A very surprising addition, and they kind of just like whoop and then didn't say much about it. And even now, you know, they're still not really saying. This is just reiterating what we already knew. Now, I know a lot of people, I see the reasons for this, I'll say that much. Drawing more emphasis to life and your character and keeping them alive and that kind of stuff, and giving you a benefit for what you do. It kind of works in the way that Star Citizen has always presented itself. They want you to, like, if you do something, they want you to be good at that. If you don't do something, they want you to be worse at that. But the way that I always understood that to be was through player skill, through player reputation, and through the equipment and cool loot that you could find. So when I say I'm not sure about this feature, not going to say I'm completely against it. Personally, I don't like it, but like as somebody who might have their opinion taken into more consideration, I'm not going to just kind of toss it out. But I do think it's weird that I feel like this takes away from the emphasis on cool loot, specifically on getting a good armor kit or getting a cybernetic leg. Or I always thought that was kind of the way, and it was always going to be based on your player skill and what you did. So, you know, we'll see how they do this. A lot of people say it won't make much of a difference. I could see it slowly creeping more and more into the game. We'll have to see. It better be a system like GTA 5, a minor benefit. Macton, you said if it's as minimal as GTA, why have it at all? So that was kind of the arguments that kept bouncing back and forth during CitizenCon. The idea of why do we need skill systems? Shouldn't it be based on player skill? This kind of mixes things up because people can game the system. And then that was kind of responded with, well, it's not going to make too big of a difference. It's just like, you know, a percentage point or two, which the response then is, well, then why have it if it's only making such a minimal difference? I'm always going to fall back on the idea that I think the things they want to do with skill could have been done with equipment and loot, and I really wish they did. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen with it. Y'all know, watching my streams, that I'll be plenty fit with all the jumping and sprinting I do everywhere. And that's kind of why I don't know if it's going to work. It's like, if everybody is sprinting everywhere, then everyone's going to have that boost, right? How many more animations it's going to require? They've talked about their motion bending animation stuff that could make things go faster or slower, maybe based on what you do. You don't sprint, old GPU? Well, my friend, it sounds like you're going to be the one that's the one that's falling behind. And that's also another thing. Like, they wanted people to be immersed walking around and stuff. Now everybody's going to be sprinting. I don't know. I feel like this is like, it's not going to ruin the game, but it's a kind of a curveball to throw into a game that's been built so heavily on this idea that people have kind of expected for so long. We'll see what happens, though. The team has been working on better support for the player playing animations triggered by environmental interactions, such as a character physically opening a locker door or pressing buttons on a vehicle dashboard. These are either quick or decorative action sequences with a large focus on reusability to scale with the amount of planned content. There's a lot of balancing to ensure it increases immersion with minimal impact on responsiveness. I remember they were talking about doing this with the Gladius. Possible they scrapped doing it per ship and are trying to do it more systemically now. Also something I thought they were doing long term, though. If you ever see a snazzy dude in a suit walking in Area 18, that's you. I'll keep an eye out. You're not sure you're clear on why having your character be fit prevents them from also implementing loot that enhances your character. Doesn't prevent them, just takes focus away from it. So like, let's say you can progress with mission givers by giving them money, right? So like, you could build your reputation up with them, but you could also give them money. It takes away some of that focus on the reputation aspect of it because there's now an alternate way to do the same thing that reputation was meant to do. And so when people thought that player skill and the ability to use that player skill to find things that would increase your skill level compared to other people, it starts to take away focus from that. Not to say that they're just going to take people who make loot and pull them from making loot and put them towards that game. But you have to balance the system around these aspects. Just use the old WoW rubbing hands animation for any actions. Or like one of those ones where you just grab just a hand that goes like this to pick up everything. Boxes, weapons, other people. Let's go to features on the gameplay side. The EU team continued to work on the tractor beam, this time focusing on the escaping mechanics, such as how shields affect the required strength of a tractor beam to secure a ship. A prototype was built to test the potential and help decide whether average shield strength or per shield face determines the required strength. Additionally, the team began work on detaching and attaching items with the tractor beam. Ooh! Oh! Attaching and detaching items. Didn't think about that. You know what that reminds me of? Hard Space, Shipbreaker, has the most satisfying feeling. That's hard. Yeah, when you have, no, right? I'm thinking of that. You have a tractor beam in Hard Space, right? When you're like pulling components off of the ships when you're salvaging. Oh my gosh. Imagine if they could get the feel like that in Star Citizen, pulling components off, pulling, you know, I don't know, weapons off their hard points and stuff. That would be dope. And the idea of the escaping mechanics is pretty cool. Good to see that they're looking at tractor beams in every option. We know that the tractor beams will be affected by shields, and will be able to manipulate basically anything that's interactable as long as it's the right mass. So we will see. Love Shipbreaker. Yeah, Shipbreaker is awesome. Loot literally shouldn't matter. Doesn't matter. It shouldn't. The progression should be gained more and more. Should be gaining more and more gameplay potential. Isn't that like a big part? Isn't loot a huge part of MMOs? That doesn't sound right. I mean, I don't play MMOs, so I'm actually literally asking that. But I thought loot progression was like one of the big parts of it. Either way, my point is, whether it's loot or player skill or the ship you have, or whether Pico is on Microtech or Hurston, they set a lot of expectations about the game in terms of how you're progressing. And one of those things that they made sure to emphasize was that it wasn't going to be based on character skill, but rather player skill. So, you know, whatever, if loot might not matter, but the expectations they set did. And that's where I think things are going to shift. Don't want loot progression in SC. Okay. Star Citizen is supposed to be better. So does that mean that, like, maybe I'm misunderstanding here. I thought people want to earn stuff in the game. Are you saying that loot shouldn't be better than any, like if you find a gun in a loot box, shouldn't that be an upgrade from the other guns? Or are you talking about this from a different idea? CIG gonna need to improve server performance before they add cargo unloading. Yeah, for sure. Certified Gumbo, how you doing? Good to see you, buddy. The tractor beam stuff reminds you of the scene from Andor. Yeah, that is an example of it. I was thinking of that. It shouldn't be the driving force of the game like it is for MMOs. Okay. Yes and no. You would say loot should be basically cosmetic. Like the weapon shouldn't have stats like find a 10 plus 10 damage FS9. No, not necessarily like weapons have different stats, but the fact that one weapon is better than others or one armor is better than others. Because like that, I mean, I can pull up a lot of documents from CIG talking about how they're going to have different armors with different damage resistance. I mean, that kind of stuff is important. You want to be able to find good loot that is more rare. Right. Could you imagine a firefight where the engineers are constantly messing with power levels and coordinating with the tractor and weapons operators? It's going to be fun. That multi-crew stuff's going to be really fun. An FS9 you find in loot should just look different but function just like an FS9 you buy anywhere else. Right. I think you guys are misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there should be a C54 that you get from the store and then a C54 that you get that magically has a bunch of better damage or something. I'm saying you get a C54 and you shoot it a lot. And as you're shooting it a lot with the SMG, you're going up in skill. You're getting better aim with your SMG. That's great. That's cool. But then also you can go and find, say, a scope that gives you better accuracy. It's not necessarily that like the SMG itself is magically better at aiming. It's because you found the loot that works with that SMG. That's the way I'm understanding loot. Not that loot has like rarity levels and you get additional points on top of it. And I'm not saying that should be the focus. Again, this is one small segment of the game. We're talking about skills and how they affect progression versus what was previously determined before skills. So I don't want this to be about loot. I realize that this has become very focused on loot, and that's not the point of what I was saying. Star Citizen is fun. Is the anticipation of how big of an impact you can make on the universe, not how powerful your gun is. The game should have a feel like the term progress from turn of the 20th century meant. If they have the ability to exercise to buff your stats, people aren't going to use it just to buff their stats. People are going to mess around and have fun with it because it looks funny in game. They tried skills like this with Mass Effect 1. It didn't work. Better just let people be their own skills. You just don't want it to be another Eve. As I understand it, we will also get a ship module that upgrades components and weapons. Right, that's kind of the obvious one here. We can't say loot isn't going to be better than other things because we have a whole progression path planned for ship components and upgrading your ships with better scanners and power sources and coolers. This is like super important, I feel, to the game. And my whole point originally was just that I thought that was what they were focusing on for progression, not skills. Skills apparently are a small thing, but we'll see if they stay that way. Anyways, let's move on from this. A clearer direction for the expected ship engineer gameplay was defined last month. This involved determining the gameplay beats and planning the possible malfunctions and dangers players will face while maintaining their ships. Like fires. Additionally, the ongoing mining balance update progressed well, with small changes that have bigger impacts being added to the system. For salvage gameplay features helped missions prepare to use the mechanic in new content. Give me salvage missions. In the US, gameplay features continued with the overall design for loading and unloading physicalized cargo, and designs for missions that leverage the new cargo systems kicked off. These missions will also utilize the boarding actions now available with soft death alongside the retrieval of containers or other objects of interest. This to me sounds like now, instead of doing retrieval missions where you have to go to a derelict ship crashed on the moon, maybe you can do retrieval missions where you have to go inside of a derelict ship in space that's soft death and still has NPCs on board. It's like the missions that they kind of handmade and crafted before are now just going to use the actual game features. Don't forget, we'll be able to customize the weapons and make them more powerful, so these variants introduced will make finding and acquiring unique weapons mean more. You like the idea of a skill tracker in terms of military. If you use a sniper, it tracks how good you are with it, but not affect how well you perform. Oh yeah, tracking is cool. The ship collider module for the Endeavor, for example. Oh, that's like a upgraded something you can get. Let's see. Investigation and preliminary design work started on changes to ship insurance and how it works in conjunction with ship destruction. These changes are necessary to make towing and repairing either at stations or in space a better choice. So I realize they're talking about towing and repairing, and that makes me want to believe I don't think that we're going to have any missions that have to do with this stuff this year, especially because they said these changes are necessary, not we're looking into. So I'm not going to get too excited about that. But missions in cargo, missions in mining, missions in salvage, missions in retrieval. It's a lot of missions. And we're not even at the missions section yet. All right. The majority of the mission features team last month was spent their time addressing bugs and balancing for Alpha 3.18. Progress was also made on the design and prototyping of various new missions, including salvage. Mission feature team had to say, the order we are tackling these missions is based on when we receive the necessary support. So the first missions produced will be more simplistic salvage ones. These include a lawful contract in which players must pay for the allocation of salvage. An unlawful timed mission is in which players must strip a ship quickly or deal with inbound hostiles. A lawless mission in which multiple players pay for the location of the same large salvage opportunity, and one in which players must restore a ship using nearby wrecks for materials. So does that mean that the lawful one is going to be on your personal tab and the lawless one is going to be on your general tab? Is that what they're saying? If they're sending out a mission in which multiple players can pay for the location of the same salvage opportunity, that sounds like kind of an open mission, right? Whereas the other one sounds like a personal mission, which, to be quite honest, sounds like the kind of mission you're going to get from a player at some point. Because all this is data running done by NPCs. An NPC goes and finds the location of salvage, you pay the mission to get the location. The only difference that we're going to have in the future is instead of an NPC, it's going to be a player that got the location, and then they just put out something that says, hey, pay this money and I'll give you the spot. So we're inching there slowly. A mining mission was also prototyped in which players purchase the location of a valuable prospect. There are currently 3 variants: lawful, which takes place in a monitored zone that has friendly defenses, to protect against hostiles; unlawful, where players seize legally owned mining claims; and lawless, which takes place in unmonitored zones and can be accepted by multiple players. Again, probably a general tab mission kind of thing. A few other missions progressed through the design and work on Bounty Hunting V2, and the Mission Manager update continued. Finally, for mission features, designs for defending players' ships from intruders and ship-based hostility were worked on. These features are intended to replace the simplistic hostility currently in-game, where ships remember the hostility of their last pilot or turn hostile the moment a hostile player steps aboard. Interesting. Designs for defending player ships from intruders. Okay, so this is kind of to get people, make it so that you can limit the people who are coming on board. Ships remember the hostility of their last pilot, or turn hostile the moment a hostile player steps on board. No, this is talking about how AI. No, this isn't how. I'm kind of confused what exactly this is pointing to. When they say designs for defending player ships, are they saying they're working on the... Somebody help my Friday brain. It's badly put. Yeah, I'm having trouble understanding that one. Being able to install a mounted railgun in each ship entrance. They could have just said that. These features are intended to replace the simplistic hostility currently in game where ships remember the hostility of their last pilot. So they're saying that ships will no longer remember pilot hostility, but will just be defending more. I don't know. They kind of said that there's something wrong, but didn't exactly say what was going to replace it. So we'll see if they talk about it later. In-game branding. Last month, the in-game branding team progressed with their work on the Lorville skyline. They then transitioned to Invictus launch week, including a refresh of the DefenseCon branding, which will become the main focus for the upcoming weeks. Progress continued on the brand catalog too. So a ship will remain hostile and marked red after the pilot leaves. New pilot will fly a hostile ship. Is that all they're saying? So they're basically just saying it's going to be based on the ship rather than the player. I don't know what the whole point of talking about intruders and everything was, but let's go to lighting. Lighting began the year making progress in several key areas, including tidying and bug fixing Area 18 to restore its intended appearance. Work on pyro continued with the team lighting the interiors and exteriors of the Colonial Outpost and Ruined Station. They also supported the ongoing rework of Lorville's skyline, touching up and improving several areas around the city. Nothing too crazy here. All stuff we know about. In January, the Live Tools team worked on several improvements to the local development environment tool. They're currently finalizing the last step of implementing the Entity Graph tool into the Network Operations Center. The roadmap for 2023 projects was also refined, with the addition of new projects that will support server meshing. Y'all ready for next week when they update everything and we get to see what's actually going on this year? Nervous. Locations team. January saw the locations team continuing work on Pyro's Ruined Station. This behemoth task, the team says, that the team have diligently been working on, and it's looking better day by day. EU Locations 2 progressed with the local law office mentioned in last month's report and created new content alongside mission features. Yep, next week, February 8th, we get a big update on what's going on. The Sandbox teams further developed the Colonial Outposts and continued exploration and development of the underground facilities. Okay, didn't I say in the last monthly report that I was hoping to hear that they were doing development and not just... Yo! Production is starting to ramp up and the team are feeling good about the work being done. Somebody could quote me. This was like last week on Monday. I was like, dang, they're still talking about exploring the possibilities. I hope we hear about in January that they're actually on production. And they're on production. That is fantastic. I think we could see these this year. I'm not going to get too excited about that. But I think we could see the underground facilities, at least the first Tier 01 this year, which is good. Just watched one of the YouTube videos for ship upgrades. Gotta thank me. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for watching it. It's a big favor to me. I put it out there, and I love it when people get to see it. What's this month's subscribership? You know, I don't know. Sorry. Java update. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate you resubbing up for... What does that say? What does it say? 1 month? Oh, 5 months. Sorry. Appreciate you. Almost a half year. You're growing. He's growing up. We're going to get some new sub badges this year. I promise. You'll actually be growing. You're actually checking Panic Switch. Hey, if you find it, send me the timestamp. Maybe I'll do like a little video or something. I don't know. Oh no. My recording stopped. Darn. Once again, where is Tony Z? Your favorite tag, huh, Gumbo? You know, apparently Tony Z is involved in a lot of the work with like the beacons and the sandbox missions and stuff. Oh, you're checking subship. Never mind. Go about your way. Let's see. Do we get all the way to narrative? No. We were up here. The organics team spent the month reworking areas already in game and progressed with the art benchmark for rocky caves, which they're bringing up to sand caves, which look way, way better. After that, we'll get acidic caves, ice caves, and I think like abandoned kind of caves, overgrown caves, something like that. All right, narrative. The narrative team began the year with a continued push to support the latest patch and progressed with tasks started before the holidays. This included working with the design teams to start scripting upcoming mining and salvage mission content. They also continued developing stories for the first batch of investigation missions and discussed potential upcoming content. Developing the stories. Again, I'm going to say it again. I hope next month we hear more about the actual production of these missions. I'd like to see them beginning or mid-year and not end of year, but it's sounding a lot like they're planning these for later in the year. Either way, they are more missions. It is another profession, another career path, and it's great to hear that they're working on it. The environment team and design teams provided updates on new locations that will start appearing in the game to support bounty hunting. Oh! And they're not saying bounty hunting office here. Normally they would say the bounty hunting office. They're putting in additional locations for bounty hunting. Wonder what that might be. Maybe some like additional sort of back alley kind of bars and gang hangout places that you're supposed to go? I don't know. You wonder what acidic caves even implies? Are we talking old volcanic shafts or just marble everywhere? Honestly, it's probably going to be rocky caves with a different coat of paint on them and then like pools of acid and stuff. Or like... It'll probably look like if they took Ariel and Ida and turned them into caves. They kind of have that acidic feel to them, you know? Starjump 07, thank you for hopping in here. Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope your fleet viewer is doing well and production is going well for you. Okay. The environment and design teams, we already read that. Planning was also undertaken for the year ahead. Part of this included building a comprehensive resource listing all the various organizations and NPCs and what mission content they offer. This provides a single source for team members to reference when coming up with new missions. Narrative, I mean, it's good that they're doing that. I can't imagine they didn't have that before, but it's great that they are. Steve, thank you so much for the super chat. I see you with that drop. Thanks for the support, mate. It seriously means a lot, especially this time of year. I know it's tough for everybody, but it helps us a ton. Heard they were working on hostile hot dogs. If they are, I want in. Planning was also undertaken for the year ahead. We also said this already. Narrative are also seeking to leverage their dedicated narrative designers to look at the current mission giver setup as well as prototype simple story-based missions that could be placed around the various landing zones to provide additional content. That's what I like to hear. Besides all these missions and professions we're hearing about, they're talking about adding story-based missions to the landing zones. This is like key new player experience stuff. This is fantastic. It's reasons to go to cities. It's things to do while you're confused as to how to get to your ship. Training, like this is super important. Oh, it's great to hear that they're working on that. Because the cities right now still don't really have much reason to exist, you know, outside of an outpost. Let's see. In short, we have scaled back on original fictional content for the website in order to focus on in-game content. The ultimate hope is that we will be able to resurrect these stories and news updates in the game. Holy crap. Honestly, I thought they were just ditching the stories and they were going to go with the just like putting stuff into the game. I did not know that they wanted to try and still share these stories into games, and it gives me Bethesda vibes. I want to find data pads and books lying around where I can read stories that are in the fiction, you know? I really hope that's what they mean. That definitely builds out that sense of exploration on the micro scale. Get to an outpost. Yeah, you get a gun. Yeah, you shoot some NPCs. You find a box, you put it in your ship, but like finding a story, a unique lore story that you can't find anywhere else in the game, that's pretty cool. What's going to happen next week exactly? We get a roadmap update. First one of the year. And since they usually spend January really planning out the whole year, this one usually ends up seeing a lot of stuff and plans for the year being refactored and shared with us. We'll also be seeing what's coming in 3.19 preliminarily. There are some of those already. I did not know that. I thought there was one or two, definitely in that old mission. But I don't know any others than that. Nothing will happen really. Yeah, I mean, nothing will happen in the sense that like we're not receiving any updates or something. But as far as Star Citizen goes, it's a pretty important week. Considering Star Citizen is practically built off of the idea that they're still telling us that they're updating the game. The things that they tell us they're updating are important to the health of the game, I think, and the morale of the community. So letting people in on what's coming in 3.19 is pretty important for them. And it, in my opinion, took too long. I think we should have known at the end of last year, but I understand why they had to wait. Someone suggested raids when city interiors get added. A lot of Sci-Fi is man versus nature. So they could do relief efforts for small settlements on Stormy planets. They, I could see raids on city building interiors. Kind of like the Siege of Orison stuff. Needs expanding, don't get me wrong. Rig, I'm going to get you wrong, all right? You're going to deal with it. No, I'm kidding. I get exactly what you mean. Let's move on to online services. In Montreal, online services plan the year ahead, discussing server meshing with the networking team. The goal was to achieve technical design and consensus and division of responsibilities between the teams in order to deliver the feature. The following week, online services further define the tasks needed to achieve server meshing tier 0. Probably in a much more defined and, like, obviously, I can't say obviously. I would expect that they already had an idea of what to do. This sounds like they're getting ready to get to proper work on the final haul. Be interesting to see what they say next year or next month, but I think this might be the first time I've seen them actually talk about server meshing work in the monthly report outside of PES and stuff. Occasionally you find a data pad lying around. Okay. The remainder of the month was spent putting the final touches on 3.18's features, including character repair, long-term persistence, insurance, and bug fixing. Tier 0 will probably be a server for Stanton, server for Pyro. I'm hoping it's at least a server for Planet. But maybe they can't get us to be able to transition between them. Ship tech art and animation progressed with the Hull C. Okay. So there is Taryn. Taryn is another person that we can count on to help us get through the month. Thank you for the pizza coverage, Taryn. Always appreciate your bits. So that's the Hull C. That is the 8th ship I believe they've talked about in this update. And actually, besides the SRV, the only other backlog ship they're working on, I guess, unless you consider the Spirit part of their backlog, like technically, if it's already announced it's part of the backlog, I don't, you know, you do you. But at least the SRV and Hull C are ships that seem to be busting out work on when it comes to their ship backlog. But they were working on it in January. Saw them working on the animation and state setup for the ship's expanding cargo mode. Tech animation and damage support was provided for several ships in the pipeline, and all ships are reviewed were reviewed alongside QA to ensure that relevant component attachments can take damage. They also enabled shader damage scraping on various ship attachments and fixed several hull scraping issues on ship bodies. SRV is a must for racing tracks and for trolling. Oh, yo, Mrs. Tomato's in the house. How's it going? King Thugless, finally getting to catch a live stream. Thanks for dropping by. Sorry you missed some of the report here. The stated plan was for 4 shards, 2 in Stanton and 2 in Pyro. Oh, that's good to hear, Randir. Was that on the letter? I don't remember where they said that. They may do planets as T0.5, but pretty much the T0 is that they will say this is one server, this is another server, and that is how it will always be. Ugh. Oh, no. Dedicated servers for area space is cool. I just hope this server isn't spread across all of Stanton. Because, like, imagine they were like, what if they... all this stuff for server meshing, you know, we all know that server meshing is going to hit for the first version and it's not going to be as big a deal as the hype has led it to be because it's going to be an iterative process. But how much would it suck for them to finally get to the end and get server meshing T0 in and almost nothing changes because we're still just sitting in one server on Stanton? I mean, I guess Pyrowig does exist as well, but I would just really, really love for Stanton to not be so rough, but that's probably going to be tier 1. I just said in January and you're over here confused because you're still thinking we're in January. Oh gosh, that's so January of you, Punch. Got to keep eyes on the culling tech as well. That's fair. You think we'll get settlements like the one in the gameplay video on Pyro 3 from like a year ago or so in Stanton before 4.0? You know, they talked about spreading locations, outpost locations out across Stanton. I think that could be a possibility. I'm not going to put any money on it, but I think it's possible that they could update the outposts in Stanton. I do hope that they still look quite different from Pyro, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're all kind of going to be the same. First time on stream, just saying hi. What's up, Iceman? How's it going? Thanks for dropping by the way. And thanks for following. Welcome. Where were we? Ship art? No, we just did ship tech art. We're going UI. The UI tech team continues to support Alpha 318, ironing out any remaining issues with the way the vehicle and character loadout systems interact with persistent system. Yo, persistent streaming. Sorry. Depa, who needs no introduction, renewing that membership over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Depa. I appreciate you. Cheers for the socks. Thanks. I hope you like them. I hope they are comf. Much appreciation. Actually, I just released a new video exclusive to supporters. So if you want to check that out and want to support and help us keep doing what we're doing, either YouTube channel membership or Twitch subscription gets you access to those exclusive videos. And I'll actually let you see the intro a little bit later to see if you're interested in it. But for those who weren't here before, it's basically just looking at the game as it is now and then comparing it to the game that it's going to be in the future, looking at the features, locations, and different things that are going to be added that make Star Citizen feel so incomplete right now. Kind of addresses things like why griefing feels like griefing, why piracy and griefing get confused, and why the law system and the economy and missions and the amount of people you see in space stations all are lacking. So if you like that, check it out. If you're already a supporter, please go watch that. Okay, back to UI. The team also helped with the Squadron 42 roadmap or star map. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear Squadron 42 star map. I want to hear Star Citizen star map, which will eventually make its way into the PU. Yeah, there it is. The current focus is on adding navigation aids, such as grids and coordinates, improving the sizing of planets and markers, and adding visual polish. Honestly, if they're still polishing the Squadron 42 star map, I am not convinced. I would say this makes me less confident that it's coming this year than I was before. It's unfortunate. Salty Mike said the same thing about the star map. Yeah. Because they don't normally call it the Squadron 42 star map. Now that it's getting closer to being completed, they're specifying Squadron 42. Because they don't want us to get excited for the possibility that it could actually be here. Ugh. Good evening, Cat Mom. All right, VFX. Last month, VFX carried out several CPU to GPU particle library conversions, starting with vehicles. The sheer number of existing libraries combined with new content being added all the time means it can sometimes be tricky for the team to revisit and update the older libraries. We're getting there, though. We're gonna do it. Major Bad, how you doing? Hello. Elsewhere, pre-production began on some new locations, including a huge underground facility and rock caves. Okay. So they're going with a huge underground facility and not the small ones? Or are they just getting colorful with their language? The team also continued with the snag list mentioned last month. While some of this was done in the Alpha 318 workspace, it was continued in staging content when Alpha 318 was locked down in the build up to release. And folks, my friends, that is the January monthly report. To be honest, it's a good one. There's good stuff in here. It's a lot of stuff about missions, which I like to hear, and careers, which is good. There's also some good stuff that leans towards the new player experience, which is nice. And confirmation on the underground facilities. You know, I'm happy with some of the stuff we heard. What I'm not happy about is that we're still not hearing about quantum or economy updates. I'm glad we're hearing about cargo missions, tractor beams, cargo refactor. That's all very good stuff. Honestly, as sad as I am about the star map, I'm very excited for a lot of the things that we see are coming this year. It's kind of like the same stuff that I was seeing at the beginning of last year, but in a bigger way. So last year, we saw the beginning of missions starting to come in and locations starting to do better. But this year, it feels like it's a lot more significant. So whatever we saw last year in terms of locations, the ruins, the rivers, the derelicts, the spaceships in the space, that kind of stuff, I think we'll probably see a significantly higher amount of that stuff this year, tied into more professions like possibly investigation, but definitely cargo and mining and salvage and stuff like that. So ultimately, I think it's going to be another good year for gameplay. Okay. I'll hold off on saying another. I know some people don't feel last year was a good year for gameplay. Relatively speaking, I think it was. But this year definitely is going to be another step forward, we'll say, for gameplay. Where's resource management at? You know, they didn't talk about that. That's a good point. Because they didn't really have a vehicle features section this time. They kind of included it in the AI part, which was strange. Normally it would be in vehicle features. Yeah, I don't think they really talked about resource management much here. Other than... No, I don't think so. Oh, there he is. There's our prayer. Don't even know if we'll get modules before resource management and engineering is fully in. Yeah, I don't know about that. Could the Ranger be one of the vehicles in LOD0? I think it's more likely to be the X1, to be honest. I would love for it to be the Ranger. But I think they would talk about the Ranger more candidly because it needs new tech. Where were we? LOD0 complete. That's a small ship. LOD0 complete is an unannounced ground vehicle, so that wouldn't be the Ranger. This would be the other one. An all new vehicle entered gray box. That could be the Ranger. Could also be the X1 though. Yeah, resource management still being worked on. Just wasn't mentioned in this update. What do you think will be 4.0? The star map chiz? Two ships you can't wait for, the Apollo and the Legionnaire. I hope we see the Apollo. sometime soon. I don't think we'll see it this year, but maybe. Oh, resource management you think will be 4.0? I think it'll be this year. Or I think it'll be pre 4.0. Although it depends. If they don't do anything in between 3.19 and 4.0, then I could see it going 4.0. But if there's going to be one more patch after 3.19 this year, whether it's a 3.19.2 or a 3.20, I think we could see it then. This monthly update's got you super excited. All the missions that they're talking about, plus your spirits. Missions are good. Missions are good. Gameplay is good. We need more of that. It's good to see. Overall, I'm feeling fine about the development of the game. You know, there's some things that are slow, some things that definitely are annoying me. The economy is one thing. Some of the marketing stuff, you know, as always, can rub you the wrong way. Nothing's ever perfect, but I'm pretty bullish on the development right now. It's feeling good. It feels a lot more like they know what they're doing. They've got teams that are running on actual, you know, sprints, and everybody seems to have their head down for the development. Montreal is taking off. They're doing a great job. The US and EU PU teams are doing good with features. And the EU locations team joins Montreal in making some pretty cool stuff coming to the game. So some bright spots, some not so bright spots, but I'm overall positive on it. Can't even begin to imagine how much work it'll take them to put components, resource management, life support, relays, etc. into all of the old ships. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. Does resource management include the addition of physicalized damage? No. Resource management as a feature set includes life support, I think fire hazards, power relays, gravity control, and role assignment on ships, although I'm not sure that's included in the first version. That's mainly what it is. What are my thoughts on crafting in Star Citizen? Does it have a place? And if so, how do you see crafting? Absolutely has a place. We're going to need crafting because we have base building. And base building's going to have to be built off a crafting system, right? Like, they're already focusing on... I think I can maybe pull some stuff on this up for you. If we look at some of their older footage, they're already focusing on the idea of requiring... No, that's not going to be it. Here. So you see how, like, this is the economy. This is a representation of what the economy would look like. And what we're looking at here is a factory somewhere. I don't know where. Somewhere in Stanton. Basically saying that that factory builds this power plant every this amount of time, taking this amount of resources and this amount of, you know, materials. So they're already laying the groundwork for the idea that all of the things in game require other things. So I think crafting definitely has a place because that's what's going to help to drive the economy. It's going to make things like aluminum more interesting to mine than just Quantanium, because now you need aluminum to get jobs. You need jobs to make power plants to drive the economy. Supply and demand kind of stuff. So I do think crafting will be a big thing in the game. God knows how it's going to work, though. You want to get your butt in a vulture? The vulture is cool. I think the one thing that it's missing is a little bit better management of those boxes in the back. Right, heat management. C. McD, good call. Ace, this is the year you're back to playing. This is a good year to jump back in if you're already used to the jank. What do I think about the skills, Bishop? I had a little rant. We had a conversation about that. Went quite a while. I'm not. I'm whelmed, I guess you could say. I'm trying very hard not to be negative about it. because I know that part of my negative reaction to it is just the fact that the game is changing from something that I thought I knew. And it's really easy to get negative when the game changes because, you know, it's just how we are. Like if you wanted something and then it changes, it doesn't matter if you want that new change or not. You're kind of annoyed at the change, and that happens. And I'm trying not to let that get to me, but it bugs me. I think the way that it could end up changing the game from something that they focused on for a long time. But we don't know how it's going to go. Can you imagine how crazy EVA missions will be when we have EVA propulsion resources in the game? Space will start to feel dangerous. Yeah, leaving your ship won't feel like you're just taking a short walk. We all know negativity is illegal on Spectrum. Why would anyone ever be negative? It's perfect. See, I don't go on Spectrum. Okay? You're gonna spare me that. That stuff is painful. You want to see gantry cranes in cargo areas of specific ships? Interior tractor beams would be nice. Some of the ships have tractor beams on them. 315, SRV, Connie Taurus, Cutlass Black, Nomad. They've all got tractor beams, so those will be useful for loading, but an interior one would be nice too, like a small one. Thing really holding back the Vulture is that ladder. You think the box management itself is fine. It's the ladder that makes the transition more jarring. What could they do? Is there any option that they could come up with that? Like, what if they just tucked a little, basically a tractor beam the same size as the multi-tool up in the corner with a little remote camera on it? You're hoping when they bring in stuff like suit and multi-tool batteries that we can charge them up using the ship? Yeah. They haven't really talked too much about how charge and drain is going to work, huh? So we know that's on the roadmap. And we've kind of seen them hint at it. And we know that our armor is going to be basically like our ships in that they run on power systems and stuff. But yeah, if we have to like find some specific way to charge them besides just something easier, that's going to be rough. This is all back-end tech tasks related to creating the first pass of the charge and drain power feature that will be used in future location and mission updates. We don't know about this, but maybe they'll have an update on it next week. Propellant constraints and inertial physics are going to make EVA so much better. Yeah, better. I think crazy is synonymous to better in this instance. Suit lockers, charge them up. That would be good. Are you going to be able to mine things on planets to use as fuel for batteries and such? Oh, no one. That would be cool, though. Certain materials you could craft into batteries. Instead of player skills, they could have tuning on ship components using mats and rep to make components better than default performance. Less components to make, same variance in performance. That's, honestly, Stella, that's really what confused me, was that why did they introduce player skills instead of going deeper into the armor and item stuff that they were already doing? I mean, I get that it's another part of the game, but I wish they had gone deeper into the why. We all kind of come up with our own reasons for why. You know, it makes the bodies matter more and stuff like that. But I want to hear it from them. Who is on the SCL today? I don't know. I'm kind of the same way I was last week. I've been very disconnected from SC. It's been a not gonna lie, folks, it's been a heavy couple of weeks for us here. We've got a little bit behind on work, but mainly it's just been super distracting. Haven't been able to put as much time into things like the org or Star Citizen or content as we've wanted to. So I don't even know who's on Star Citizen Live. Would also be nice if we could recharge laser weapon battery packs. Yeah, those I hope would be included in the charge and drain feature, because that's kind of a benefit over ballistics, right? You just carry the batteries and then you charge them some way. You don't have to store all that ammo. Equip. I've seen one place I've seen batteries used, I think, one time in engine. And it was a demonstration here. I don't even know if these are batteries. Let's see. Just a demonstration of them switching it out from a something. Let's see. Open, carry. See, it doesn't actually say what it is. But it certainly looks battery-like, right? It's a fried one, and this is a free one. So hopefully these aren't batteries, because those definitely look like they were disposable. Hope everything get better for you and the fam. Yeah. Things are getting better. I guess they could be fuses. They definitely look maybe these were old fuses. Yeah. Oh, I guess it does kind of look like the new version of the fuse thing they had. Let me see if I can pull that up. Where would I have saved that to? I don't actually have that saved. They did like a picture. They did a picture of the NPCs changing out the fuses, and they had one of those fuse boxes. And it gave a pretty good view of what they look like, but I can't find any pictures of that. No, I don't think I have that. That's weird. Usually I have these pictures. Well, yeah, I guess this looks like an old version of the fuse box. You guys are probably right. Would have been nice to have the new model to compare against. Done looking for it. We don't have anything in-game to give us a connection to our ships. No intrinsic value, so to speak. They don't feel like ours, just a random car we like Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. And it's hard to imagine a game where I do care about my ship, to be honest. I keep thinking to myself, like, yeah, oh no, my ship, it's got my stuff and everything, but I still don't care if it blows up. Hope that changes. Catch you later, Bishop. Batteries, generators for outpost power plants, you assume would need some way to get fuel for them, and they already have the mining mechanic in the game, so... Yeah, and we know that we're going to be able to set up our own mining setup. Stepa. Ah, like a brush of cold air on a desert day. Depa! You're a homie, man. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. Depa's getting some socks, and I'm so pumped to hear what you think of them. These are my favorite socks. I don't even have them on right now, but these tomato socks are the best thing that ever happened to me. Thank you so much for the support, man. It seriously means a lot. Thanks for being a part of the Garden family. Thanks, everybody, for being a part of that. We're actually going to wrap up pretty soon here. I see you guys heading out. Short stream, Friday night stream, monthly report stream. But tomorrow we'll be back at it, probably jumping in with the org to do some gameplay and have a little bit of fun in-game. Maybe we'll do some 318. We'll see. While ballistics should be a lot more powerful and deadly, but of course harder and more expensive to use. Yeah, and they take more storage. Chiz, have a good one. Thanks for hopping in. You try to live out of your ship, Silky? Losing your ship means losing your kit, but it only just stings, not really a big deal. I'm the same. I don't live out of my ship, but I'm the same way. Like, it stings, but it doesn't quite hit me like it should. And I think more so, it's not myself that I'm worried about. I want to see the game meta change, because you can do all the gameplay you want. You can role play and live in the situation that you want to set up for yourself in the game. But if the meta doesn't change, then you're kind of playing by rules that nobody else is, which takes away from it. You don't think we'll be able to fully care about our ship until we can repair and really have it stick with us? Yeah, and they're not really talking much about repair yet. Hey, Polite, I appreciate you. Thank you. I hope you have a good day and a great weekend. Enjoy your Sundays, folks. You deserve them. Have fun watching the stream, chill. Jerry, thank you for coming. I appreciate you. All right, Rig. Thank you. Thanks for being here. If every player starts out on a planet without a ship and they have to work their way up to be able to afford a ship, most people living in Lorville ain't gonna have a private spaceship. That would be an interesting way to start the game. I almost want to advocate for it, kind of like how No Man's Sky does it, but at the same time, it's gonna really annoy people because everyone kind of just wants to jump in and fly. I think the best way to do it would be to start us out outside of the city. And maybe... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of different ways you could start a game like this. Maybe they could have multiple starting paths. Maybe that's getting too far. Maybe they could do a whole Cyberpunk thing where they tell us we want to choose our starting path and then don't actually let us make it affect the game very much, besides a montage that we have to watch and not play through. I'm sorry. I'm salty. I'm still salty about Cyberpunk. Of course, not an Aurora taking out a Redeemer type stuff. You think racing games where you can use the same car the entire game while beefing it up and tuning it through progress is a good example of what you'd like to see. In terms of, like, upgrading stuff, I get you. How do we get socks, Spiffy? Well, we generally like to send socks to the people who are, like, we have a store for the socks, actually. Hold on. Why am I... If you type an exclamation point socks... And you are on YouTube, so that doesn't work. If you go to our store on Fourth Wall, I think the first thing that pops up are the socks. They're beautiful socks. They're a little expensive, but I promise they are high quality. They hug your feet and they feel really good. Other than that, usually it's like our mods and people who are doing a lot for the community. Maybe a sock here, maybe a sock there. Any news about when 318 is dropping? I have none. Sorry. Once you had a whole screenshot story of a Waggy on Lorville. A Waggy? Getting an old Aurora from that coughing old man from Reclaim. Oh, Clovis. Oh, Deppa, it's your birthday? Yo, I'm giving you the role on the Discord server. Get out of here, man. I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday, fool. Thank you for being a part of the garden. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope the people have celebrated your birthday. Everybody needs to know. You can't tell me it's your birthday. You're going to end up going on the top of our server. Happy birthday, buddy. Thanks for being such an absolute unit in this community. We appreciate you. Taryn McLean, you said we will care more about our ships when it costs you to claim the ship. Right, and there's like money sinks that also distract me from saving millions of UEC. You think we're going to see shipless packages? That would be pretty cool. It'd be cool to see a ship slowly starts to look like when it gets to like a month of age. Hopefully PES allows it. Hopefully. Biffy said, awesome, thanks, can't be on too much. Currently watching you from a lab on Air Force Base during a slow Friday. Well, hey, you know, thanks for being here to watch. No matter. Wait, does socks not work on there? How about toes? It might be toes. Yeah, it's toes. There it is. Sorry about that. It's toes on Twitch, not socks. Yeah, some people aren't going to want to fly ships in this game. If you haven't already, this is the part where I do my plugs. Hope you don't mind me. It'll be quick. So if you are a supporter, like I said, on Twitch, YouTube, or Ko-fi, or Patreon, you get access to this whole playlist. These are all exclusive videos I've released throughout the last year that explain some of the deeper parts of the game. And I have one here that actually talks about hover mode. Are you aware of your okay, shut up. Talks about hover mode and like the heat system and all that kind of stuff. This is what the heck got me? Oh yeah. I got on this topic because some people are going to watch a video like this. They're going to learn more about kind of hovering and the heat system and control surfaces. Flying, it's not going to be super easy. Like it'll be easy enough for you to do, but you're going to have to practice at it. And I feel like a lot of players are going to jump in and not want to fly. So a shipless package could be good. The socks are a perfect gift for your birthday. Thank you. Thank you, Depa. Glad you like them. It's hard to care about the ship when it explodes if it touches anything. Amen to that, Eric. Now, this is the newest video I made, and I said I was going to do a little teaser for this here on the show. Honestly, guys, I feel weird doing it, but I do need to at least show it so that people know it's there, because there's no other way for people to know. So check out the intro real quick, and then we'll continue. Thanks, folks. Thanks for.
Star Citizen is far from complete.
You know.
Many of the reasons for piracy, resource collection, bounty hunting, and even just traveling don't exist yet. The same is true for the first star system, Stanton. As a system being built from the ground up, it must undergo a pattern of expansion to introduce new spaces and updates to introduce new features to use those spaces. Without the spaces, features aren't tested. Without the features, spaces are useless. This has been a tug-of-war over the years that will continue on in this system and the game as a whole. In this video, I'm going to show you what makes the first star system in Star Citizen, how it continues to change, and how the future of this star system and the game as a whole will play radically different from what we play in Alpha 3.17. This video was made in January 2023 as an exclusive for my supporters. If you would...
Okay, that's basically it. But that's the idea. This is a video that's basically about how, you know, you hear a lot of talk about the game not making much sense, especially when it comes to piracy and like people getting in trouble for their crimes and stuff. That video is sort of an attempt to clear the air on that. And if you're interested in those kinds of videos, you can always check them out as a supporter of any kind. It helps us a ton. We try to do some extra perks for you and hope you enjoy them. But folks, that's about it for me today. I don't have too much else to say. I just wanted to go to the monthly report and have a quick chat. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you learned something today. Hope you had some fun or just chilled out and enjoyed kicking back. I'm gonna shoot a raid over to Board Gamer on Twitch because he hits me with the raids and I never get to send them back his way. 07 Stella, 07 Ethnification. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll say one more time before I go. Just remember that we do have a community stream coming up on Monday. So if you're in the Discord server, you're active, or you want to be, please join us. Come check it out. It is going to be a chance for anybody from the community who is active in Discord to hop on and voice their opinions, talk about bugs and how they feel about Star Citizen's ability to treat those bugs and keep the game stable and, you know, let it out a little bit. You know how it is. Other than that, 07's folks. Rigaden, C. McD, Duke, wow, that's blue on blue. I can't even read it. I'm sorry. What does it say? Drail, Enigmo, Peace Nut Job. You're awesome. Thanks for your stuff. Guys like you are what makes years and years of development fun during the process. Hey, I'm just trying to enjoy it with you. Y'all make it possible. The community is what keeps this going. Need to join the org. Want to do some fun stuff? Join the org. We have some good stuff coming up. We're just starting to ramp up some more activity stuff again. So please join us. We'll get you in there right away and get you into some events. Anyways, folks, thanks. I love you all. You're great. Have a good one.